Hello, my merry men and merry women. May you have a very merry and bright week. There's a lot going on. We're going to talk about some of the news. I got a lot of audio to play. And just a side note, asterisk, cats are amazing creatures, aren't they? I can't wait until this live stream is professional. I can't wait because I want to have a cat cam set up. I know I always tell you about like once we're big time, once we hit a big time. And we're on our way, 10,000 subscribers. Thank each and every one of you, 10,000. Thank you. And if you haven't, hit subscribe. I believe the button's right up here. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can join as we comment and discuss the news like we do's. This cat just climbed into a box and is peeking out with his little eyes. And it's so funny. But you know, I've always talked about how when we get big time, like Hassan, like the RM Browns, when we're big time, we have a studio set up. You know, I want to feature all the audio and video clips I play for you on the screen instead of screenshots. Oh my God, she got something stuck to her tail. But now, understanding the joy that, what's the scientific name for cats? Let's look that up. Felis catus. This is the most recognized scientific name for the common house cat. Felis catus. What is Felis sylvestris catus? A wild cat relative. So we'll just use. So after understanding that when Carl Linnaeus in 1758 suggested the scientific name Felis catus for the common house cat. And obviously Carl was probably a huge fan and knew how funny they were. Even in the 1700s, people were like, these things are adorable. One day when they have the internet, there's going to be a whole genre dedicated to funny cat videos. When this channel gets huge, I would love to have a cat cam. So you could witness what I witness in real time. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because my God, these cats are entertaining. Especially the dog personality cats, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay. There is a lot to get to. I don't know if you guys heard J.D. Vance saying you don't have to apologize for being white anymore, which I thought, where does this stuff even come from? It's almost like there's a grab hat. There's like a hat where you pull a name out of, and it's like things that we think will trigger people. And they just, you know, it's like Mad Libs for racists. Because, I don't know, nobody's ever apologized for being white in America, like ever in the history of America. In fact, they've done quite the opposite of apology. Like what are you doing? Sorry, interrupted by Felis catus. Oh, you're going to hear a star playing. So yeah, if anything, it's been quite the opposite. It's been assimilation. Like America's been so proud to be white that not only have they not apologized for it ever, but they've tried to assimilate everyone to what the fuck? There's no white culture. I hate to break this to people. There's no whiteland. There's no country where white people derive from. And if you look at the history of America, at some points, even white people weren't considered white. You know what I mean? But the fact that there's a place in America where a vice president can go and say this stuff and not get heckled off the stage because it's ridiculous is intensely sad. And I have that audio for you. The other thing I really want to talk about, and I have some amazing Erica with 3 Ks. I believe Erica Kirk Clan. I believe Erica spells her name with 3 Ks. But I have an amazing clip of Erica Kirk at the, what was it, the America Fest this weekend? I don't know. I try not to pay too hard of attention to the ridiculousness that goes on there, but I do like to get my Cliff Notes version Monday morning from all my favorite tube-ubers. And this one comes from R.M. Brown. R.M. Brown clipped Erica. Again, I believe it's spelled with 3 Ks. Erica Clan. You know Charlie Clan's wife, who's like on tour saying where, her whole tour is like, where are the parents? You know, the parents should be raising the kids while she's abandoned her 2 kids to go on tour. I don't know. I can't understand any of this stuff. You've really got to stoop to a moronic level to comprehend what they're talking about. But they get applause. And R.M. Brown clipped her so well, because if you didn't hear her Freudian slip, I'm going to play it for you in just a minute. What's up, Crush? Good to see you. And where are you watching from in the comments? Is it morning time for you? Noon? Is it nighttime? Is it tomorrow? Drop where you're from. Let us know where around the world, hopefully outside of America. How are things? Are they amazing? They're trying to trap us here. You know that, right? So I'm going to play this clip of Erica, then JD Vance. And then we're going to get into how the media is being censored by Trump and his goons in real time. From this morning when I was going through the news, and I played this amazing clip of MS Now. I don't even know what that stands for. News station, YouTube channel, and I linked it down below in case you don't believe me. I linked this short video they did. They obviously clipped it from their news broadcast, where reporters simply said what I've been saying for months now. When Donald Trump says we're going to lower prescription prices by 1,600%, 400%, anything over 100% means the pharmacy companies are going to pay you, which is not going to happen. He's bold-faced lying, and I think America's too dumb at math. Everybody took their teacher, took that saying literally, when am I ever going to use this in real life? So they just didn't pay attention to any math. So now when a president promises 1,500% off, they don't understand that that can't happen unless the pharmacy company is going to pay you to take the drug. And MS Now, all they did was clip their broadcast of a short video where he literally just wrote out the math. I did it too, because I've done this before. He just literally wrote out the math, and he was like, see, this is 50% off, this is 100, and anything over 100 would be the company paying you. And from the time I read that news story this morning till I went to go live, it's now been deleted in my country. I can't view it in my country. And if you don't believe me, I linked the video down below, and I screenshotted it here, because I wanted to play this video for you. Video unavailable, content from MS Now, it's not available in your country. Donald Trump and his goons are real-time censoring the news. This was up this morning. This is not a controversial clip. This is not a crazy clip. It's just a clip of a news reporter saying, like, the president's lying. You can't have 600% off prescriptions. And it's censored. Can't watch in my country. I can't watch this in America, the land of the free, with free speech and a free press. Weird. That's not the only thing that's going on, though. There's a lot of media being censored, being manipulated. And if you go back like 3 years on my channel to my regular videos, not my lives, you'll see I made a whole video about CBS News and how the mainstream media is not your friend. This is why I think so many people got duped by Joe Rogan. You know, they trusted him with their veterinarian advice. I don't even know how to say it. And anything beyond like an ice bath and maybe like doing push-ups, I wouldn't go to him for much. He doesn't do any research, and he gets tricked by AI often. And that's not, my claims. It's like his show. He's like, oh, damn, the internet fooled me again. It's like, man, listen, if the internet is going to fool you that much, maybe just stick away, stick to like doing jokes and stuff, maybe just do that. So we're going to go into all that. The goons, Trump goons censoring everything. Why do you think Larry Ellison's buying everything? Why do you think they put Barry Weiss in control of stuff? If you didn't see the CCOT, inside CCOT, because it was denied broadcast, and the reasons are interesting, and I have a letter of people from the inside fighting back. I will tell you this, you can find it on Reddit. I've already watched this. I'm not sure if it was the edited, but I at least watched a 10-minute video of Inside CCOT, or maybe 14 minutes. So maybe from 60 minutes, it was one of their segments. I've watched it. It's powerful. It's heinous at what this regime's getting away with. But the fact that this was not allowed to air is even more dangerous than the Jimmy Kimmel firing. And then when you pair this with the news being censored in my country, when I watched it earlier. Billy, I know you're here a lot, but Joe Rogan is mainstream media. He gets more viewers than the mainstream media. He has a bigger viewership. He's paid more than the mainstream media. I know you think like mainstream media means you have to work for a corporation, but if you just look into who Joe Rogan's funded by, works with, all his buddies, Palantir, the president, I mean, he's an arm of the government. Joe Rogan is the podcast arm of the government. He's like the Department of War podcasts, or whatever you want to call it. Joe Rogan is 100% mainstream media. I hate to be the one to break that to you. It's funny though. The Joe Rogan fans still think they're these underdogs and, they're these counterculture people. But it's like when you're aligning with Joe Rogan, who is, having on all the wealthiest men in the world, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Palantir, all Peter Palantir's friends, and the president and the vice president, and I don't even know who else. Like the FBI, he has like FBI guys on, CIA guys on, military guys on. Like, what would you call that at that point? You think that's a fucking underground podcast, nailing all those interviews? Like, get out of here, dude. Not to mention he's cut deals with like, the biggest corporations in the world. It's so funny that people still, what is it? Come here, honey. Hey, what do you want to do? Hold on. She's making... Come here. What do you want to do? Look at this little cutie. Look at this little cutie. Crush is here. Say hi to Crush. Yeah, you want to go out? Hold on. She wants to go out. You go have some fun. Okay? There you go. Meow. Beer, light. Tinfoil hat is showing? Yeah, CP Technocraft. If you weren't here the other day, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you could join. I said I copyrighted and patented a new era tinfoil hat. And we can laugh and joke all you want, but if you follow the money and follow the actions of these people, this isn't really conspiracy stuff. This is happening in real time. I linked this video to MS Now down below. You can go try to watch it yourself. I was going to play it for you today. That's why I had it. You can think this is some big conspiracy, but, CBS's official thing is like, we can't air our broadcast. And the reasoning is absolutely insane. Spoiler alert, I'll just tell you now. Barry Weiss, who was appointed Queen of CBS, because I think that's what they think they are now. Barry Weiss, who was appointed by Larry Ellison, who just had the huge mega merger and is a Trump goon, Larry Ellison, who also appointed his son CEO of something, even though his son has no merits. He's just a Nepo baby. He's just his son and will do his dad's bidding. And most likely needed to be the name so Larry Ellison could distance himself while he, pulled the marionette strings on his son. But Larry Ellison, billionaire, Trump goon, appointed Barry Weiss Queen of CBS. Barry Weiss said, you can't air that because the government refused to participate in this Inside CCOT. And we're going to get into this, but I want to play some audio for you first. And we're going to get into the whole letter written about this. And at the end, it's very poignant how it says, hold on, here it is. if the standard for airing a story becomes the government must agree to be interviewed, then the government has a kill switch on these things. The government can just not agree to do anything, and then you can't run any stories about the government, which is the antithesis of having a free press. It's completely against the Constitution, the First Amendment. It's completely against this stuff. Because if the government says we don't participate, and Barry Weiss goes, well, then if they're not going to participate, you can't run any stories. Then essentially the government can just censor everything because a Trump goon made this the standard. The government has to participate. Which that's not what America was about. I guess Putin's America, you know, for all you guys who used to say like, oh, you don't like it, go to Russia. Well, Russia came here in the form of Krasnikov. So before we get into all that, I don't have a Erica Clan thing. Well, I'll put up the JD Vance thing. I didn't get an Erica Clan clip, but this is from RM Brown's YouTube video, linked down below. He's amazing, but I'm just using his audio of this, so I didn't have to. Oh, thank you. What's up, comrade? I'm guessing you're using that in a bad way. You know, words scare Stuart. Words think. He thinks words are terrifying, so he goes, "Hey, commie." Stuart, you should understand the words you're talking about, buddy. Especially when you're supporting fascism. But here is Erica Clan, sorry. I believe she spells it with 3 Ks, Erica. Some say a Freudian slip. You know, I think, you know, she was just calling out what her husband did. This is Erica Clan.
Caleb has persisted with the same gift.
Let's listen to it again, because I didn't start from the very beginning. But did you hear Erica with 3 Ks say, my husband, he's persisted with the same grift. Excuse me. Interesting. She called her husband's whole touring around college campuses to bully freshmen. New college fresh fish to bully kids who just got out of high school. You know, that's always peak intellectualism, right? Whenever you think of the smartest person, Stephen Hawking, right? He was one of the smartest people alive. I always think about how he made his name and his reputation going to college campuses saying, hey, did you just graduate high school? Let me debate you and show you how I can dunk on you to clip it for YouTube. That's usually, you know, peak intellectual prowess. I can't believe people fucking think these people are smart. Oh my God. Oh, so many normies. They just get their news from YouTube clips. All right, Erica with 3 Ks. Why don't you tell us about this guy you're introducing?
My incredible husband at UVU, right. Caleb has persisted with the same gift. Grit. It has been a long day.
It's been a long day. I love that clip. And I love RM Brown.
They got me on that one, okay.
We'll be right back.
Despite the devastating loss of Charlie Kirk, my incredible husband at UVU, right. Caleb has persisted with the same gift. Grit. It has.
Did you guys all enjoy that? Erica with 3 Ks, Clan, saying, Caleb has persisted with the same grift. I have persisted with the same grits. I have eaten the same grits every morning. Did that mean anything? No. I think it meant a lot. I think Erica, spelt with 3 Ks, knows her husband touring around college campuses to debate just out of high school kids is a grift. It's a grift. And the way they try to position, that's why if you've watched any of her tour, I try not to give it too much time here because it's really just nonsense. You know, anytime she's been asked a question, especially when it pertains to the racist things her husband said, she can't answer it, you know? And it's kind of like torturous. It's like, who allowed this woman to go on tour, Barry Weiss? And who is, platforming this lady? Because she clearly has no personality. She's like a fucking board. She should be at home with her kids right now. Their family just experienced a tragedy, and she's been on the news almost as much as the president. She's, giving FaceTime to all the cameras when really she'd be at home consoling her children because they just lived through one of the most traumatic things you could ever experience in life. So this is one of those times where it's like you doubly feel bad for the kids because the parents are absolute grifters. And I think that says a lot that she says grift, because she knows as well as we all know. And some of you can pretend it's not a grift. But Charlie Clan's whole thing was a grift. He masqueraded around as like some intellectual powerhouse, in the day of Jubilee, where he would go to college campuses and do Steven Crowder's Change My Mind. But I don't even know what Charlie's was called. It's all like, they're like, hey guys, where are people that are still young and forming their takes on the world and don't really know too much? That would be, we can't go to high schools. They're like, well, we technically can't go to high schools. So let's go to colleges and let's make sure we're there when the freshmen are there. Do you understand what I'm saying? That any of these dudes, Steven Crowder, Charlie Clan, that are going because they legally couldn't go to high schools to do this, I'm sure they would. And once once the Trump regime forces labor laws rolled back 100 years to the good old days where, kids could smoke cigarettes and work in the mines, I'm sure they'll start debating children, But this was the next best thing they could do. The next best thing that these right-wing grifters, like Charlie Clan's wife said. I should clip that. That's what I should do.
My incredible husband at UVU, right. Caleb has persisted with the same grift.
It's so funny. She's such a mess. Really, if anybody cared for Erica Clan, spelt with 3 Ks, you would understand that they would tell her, go home and be with your children right now. You guys just all suffered a tragedy, and there's nothing more than the children need than their mother. And if you believe all the stuff you're barking about, that families should be together and conservative values and where the parents, then right after a tragedy like your family experienced, you would be at home with your kids. And I'm saying this as someone who has experienced family tragedies of this type of caliber. And I could think of nothing worse than if my mother abandoned my brothers at that time and was like, I'm going on a media tour. I'll be back in a year. It's unreal that at the same time, Erica, spelled with 3 Ks, is fucking, dude. Waffle. Yeah. Your bad faith argument of trying to manipulate what I say into, is he telling a woman to stay at home with the kids? No, I'm not saying what Charlie Clan said. That was one of Charlie Clan's whole things. What I'm saying, again, because you're doing this weird manipulation thing where you're just ignoring all the things and then trying to manipulate it into something I'm not saying. So what I'm saying is after a tragedy, you understand that part, right? After a horrific tragedy where kids lose a parent, the other parent shouldn't abandon those kids. I've abandoned my boy. I take my milkshake. They shouldn't abandon the kids and go on a media tour. They should be there every waking moment with the children to help them through the grieving process. It's unreal at how these, and Waffle is a dude who comes in here every day, and I didn't expect such a bad faith argument from him. That's why I muted him for 24 hours. The rest of you, especially those who could identify with that bad faith argument, make sure you hit subscribe and notification bell. Because there's people that come in here, but to have that kind of bad faith argument is really destructive, especially coming from these right-wingers who want to pretend like if everyone just had a family values in the home and just everybody, where were the parents? And I'm telling you, this is somebody who was listening to Erica, spelled with 3 Ks, I believe, Clan, Erica Clan, talking about giving answers to people talking about the violence in America and stuff, saying, where were the parents? And I'm going, that's so hilarious coming from you when we know your situation as a parent is you're here instead of being with your kids after they experience one of the worst tragedies you could ever experience. And I also speak from a personal point of view because my family also experienced a horrific tragedy with my father when my brothers were very young. And what I was getting at before I was rudely interrupted by a bad faith straw man fucking. And the worst part about his comment saying, oh, is he telling women to be at home? It's like, that's what Charlie Clan said. If I said that, I'd probably have a bigger audience. There's so many fucking grifters out there just willing to husk out their soul for a fucking nickel. But what I was getting at is that I couldn't imagine if my mom said, yeah, I know you guys experienced a tragedy, but I gotta go make some more dough because we're already set, and she doesn't have to work. And I gotta go do all these media circuits because that is the epitome of grift, where you're hucking a message you don't even believe in. She doesn't believe in family values. If she did, she'd be like, I can't do any kind of media for the next year, man. And remember, this happened in September of this year. Like, this happened a few fucking months ago. It's unreal that close to the wound. Like, I'd be like, bro, we're fortunate where we got money. We need time off. We need to be, healing as a family. And instead, she's out on TV telling other people that they should be, having their parents. And it's just so crazy. It's so crazy that people buy into this. Is how dumb Americans have got, man. I hope you haven't fallen victim to this. And if you have, I hope I'm pointing out the hypocrisy of this. But it was good to hear old Erica, spelt with 3 Ks, I believe, from RM Brown's video, linked down below, because I think you should totally check out RM Brown. He does great work. And RM, if you're watching, hit subscribe. Love your work. But here's Erica again, calling her husband's life's work a grift. Beautiful. Only thing come out of her mouth to be beautiful.
They got me on that one, okay?
We'll be right back.
Despite the devastating loss of Charlie Kirk, my incredible husband at UVU,
Right.
Caleb has persisted with the same gift.
Oh, hold on one second. Clan was a loser. He got what he asked for. Tond bots. I always say, he advocated for what happened to him. So you're correct. It's horrific. And people like me advocate for the opposite. We want our schools to be safer. We want our children to be safer. We don't want kids to have to continue to be normalized into this sickening culture for what he advocated for. It's horrific. It's horrific. But it's a grift, not only because, Erica, spelt with 3 Ks, I believe, called it a grift, but also because she does all these interviews. Did you watch her Barry Weiss interview? Barry Weiss interview is just creepy, fucking so creepy. And you could tell she's a grifter because she doesn't know how to, she's not a charismatic charmer where some of these guys confidently say stuff. She doesn't know how to run the grift. And she would answer questions about the violence in America saying like, well, where were the parents? And I thought that's so interesting coming from someone who just experienced this tragedy and abandoned her kids. This tragedy happened like 3 months ago, and she just abandoned her kids to do a full-on media tour. I don't know. I would have taken a break and said family comes first, but to the family first people, they think, you know, you got to get out there and fucking hit the streets. Okay. Interesting. Here's JD Vance now. Let's switch topics and let's go to this, where JD Vance, again, these people, I can't even tell you what Republicans stand for anymore. It's not family values. Erica Clan abandoned her 2 kids to go on tour. Donald Trump, who they say epitomizes the Republican movement, he cheated on all 3 of his wives, the last one with the porn star, and then got caught paying her hush money. They obviously don't care about the budget. They added $2 trillion just in less than a year. They definitely don't care about workers. You know, they're stripping workers' rights and consumers' rights with the CFPB and letting Elon Musk, an illegal South African immigrant, just raid and bankrupt our government. So I don't know what they stand for besides like this kind of shit, you know, like lecturing people on things that don't exist. And I'm going to play this clip of the vice president saying this. And then, you know, we can try to figure out what the fuck he's talking about. This is just peak grift.
In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore.
What was this America Fest this weekend? Like, what was it for? To like rally up white people to not feel bad about not having to apologize when I've lived in America my whole life. I've never, ever in my life seen anyone be like, guys, I'm very sorry, I'm white. It's not a thing. And I know even some of the trolls in here, I know you've never witnessed it either. No one has, because this doesn't exist. But again, the regime is full on propagandizing you into believing, just like Joe Rogan was so excited, we can say the R word again. You always could. There was no law forbidding it. You've always been able to say whatever words you want to. You have to deal with, you know, the public thinking what they will of you. But Joe, Elon, you know, when they were whole pumping the, what was Elon saying? Hold on.
Legalized comedy.
You know, when they were doing the whole legalized comedy thing, and they were like, we're going to take back the R word. It's like, you always could. Did you not know that? Did you think there was a law in the books that said anyone says the R words are going to go to prison? Really? Interesting. Weird. And now you have the president's couch boy. I don't know what you call him. The president's little couch man. Couchington, Just Dance, saying you don't have to apologize for being white anymore. That's never been a thing, like ever in the history of this country. It's always been the opposite, like blatantly the opposite. Because, well, let's start at the basics. There's no place white people come from. White isn't a culture and white isn't a thing. It's a color, but there is no country where white people migrate from. There isn't. There's no Whiteland, North Whiteland, South Whitelandia. There isn't. I hate to break it to you. And if you go far enough back in our history, there were white people that were considered not white. So now that we all understand that, this is even made to be more ridiculous. And it's just weird. A guy who has, I believe, an immigrant wife with not white skin is saying that. This whole thing is weird. And it reeks of fucking fascism, you know? It's just got that odor. This dude, man. I'm going to play the clip one more time. I really want you to think about what's happening in America right now. Right before Christmas, and they have this America Fest. And Charlie Clan's wife, Erica, with 3 Ks, I believe. Oh, what's up, Charlie? Charlie Kelly. That's the only Charlie I like. Seriously, let's talk about the real conspiracy. Who's Pepe Sylvia? He doesn't exist. Pepe Sylvia. Oh, my God. Now you've thrown me off. Oh no. Charlie, you got me. You got me. Hook, line, and sinker, Charlie. Mark one on the board. Hey, for all the scorekeepers, mark one on the board for Charlie, please. You got me today. Thank you, Charlie. And to the nerds who obviously project their own image, kickstart. Did your mom call you up for lunch yet? No, my mom died a couple decades ago. I wish she was alive, and I wish I had the privilege, which a lot of you do. I wish I had the privilege of having parents through my youth. I was not allowed that. That's a privilege for some of you who don't understand that, who maybe live at home with your parents, who maybe have had their parents babysit for them, who maybe had their parents help them out a time or two. That's a privilege. That's a privilege. Thank you, Charlie, for the super chat. Appreciate you. All right, let's play this. This is the vice president. This is the vice president being clapped for saying you don't have to apologize for being white anymore. I love Melanie. She's always tweeting some hot stuff. You're not going to be able to pay for healthcare, groceries, housing with this propaganda. They're relying on division and hate because they have nothing else to offer. Not even concepts of a plan.
In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore.
That's never, literally never happened. Ever, ever, ever. This is propaganda at the highest levels of the government. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right, so let's get into some... Oh, by the way, did you guys see... because they're not releasing the Epstein files. And they're redacting stuff that they shouldn't be redacting. And they also released a bunch of stuff, which I showed you on Saturday. They released a bunch of stuff. There's Donald Trump with girls of an uncertain age that they then deleted. So they're breaking the law, like, very openly, you know, because this has been the most anticipated drop all year. And when it finally not really came out, but a little bit came out, and they either missed, or I think there was a hero making sure these got out, you know, thought they could sneak these by. Whoever did that in the White House, thank you. Solidarity. And then they deleted these. So it's good to see that at least there's still some media reporting on this. I think this was a UK outlet though, because the media in the US has been fully infiltrated and co-opted to work hand in glove with Donald Trump's fascist regime. And I'll play some audio for you on what fascism does and how the media operates with it in a minute from Michael Parenti. But before that, let's go through a little of this censorship here in America. And if you don't believe we're being censored, I mean, they're blatantly censoring the biggest trafficking ring in known history. And they're doing it like sloppily, you know, like they're releasing the photos with the president, with Donald Trump in them, Donald Jeffrey Epstein's best friend Trump. They're releasing them and then going, oh, delete those. So they're sloppily doing this. So if you don't think they're censoring, what do you think this is? What do you think this is? Them releasing it and then censoring it out. They're doing it all the time. But CBS recently bought out by, oh, hold on, here's a meme for you. In 1990, Republican president going to war over oil. 2003, war oil. 2025, oil wars. Fun, guys. Remember when they were like the no new war president? Do you guys even remember that? It was like a day. Oh no, that was last year. remember last year when people were like, I'll go with the no new war guy. Oh, how's that working out? Also, did you see Cher responded to Carolyn Levitt? I love Cher. She's a fucking national treasure. A rube named Carolyn Levitt, who holds the title of White House press secretary, recently said that Cher's activism is irrelevant, outdated, and rooted in a world that doesn't exist anymore. Cher's response: let's get real for a second, honey. I love that. Let's get real for a second, honey. Oh, I wish I could do a Cher impression. Carolyn Levitt, born 1997, former White House assistant, tenure 8 months. I've had wigs that lasted longer than that. Lost 2 congressional races, both by double digits. Hosts a podcast with fewer weekly listeners than my cat's Twitter account. Advocates free speech. It blots anyone who challenges her. And her latest accomplishment, calling a woman who has topped the charts in 6 different decades irrelevant while trending for all the wrong reasons. Baby girl, baby girl. I've been fighting for rights, touring the world, and reinventing myself since before your parents went to prom. I faced critics louder, harsher, and more meaningful than anything you can type, and yet here I am. Still here, still singing. So if you want to talk about relevance, sweetheart, take a seat. I wish I could do. Anybody do a good Cher impression? Because that's one I wish I could nail. Do they have an AI bot for that? Because I would answer. I would do my voicemail with, if you could turn back time, I would have picked up the phone for you, baby. Oh, this is another good one. I love Ashley Stevens. As a student of history and observer of people, a lot of you seem to only view violence in the physical form. That way of thinking is dangerous. It allows you to forget poverty is violence, denying you healthcare is violence, that polluting your water and air is violence. Great point, Ashley. Thank you. Now, what is this? Oh, let's start at the top. Here is Donald Trump's personal lawyer, who now, of course, works in the government, saying the Department of Justice released materials related to Epstein under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, transparency keyword. Additional responsive materials will be produced as our review continues consistent with the law and protection for victims. Additional context. Signed into law on November 19th, requires the DOJ to release all unclassified records with the limited redactions allowed only for victim info or active investigations. They deleted Donald Trump out of all of them, and he was certainly not a victim. So there's one Trump goon lying and censoring. Now, for those who saw the thumbnail, I'll pull it up for you. 60 Minutes had a segment called Inside CCOT. I watched it. You can find it. It is roaming the interwebs. You can see it. It's horrific to think that this is what America is doing right now. You know, it's just disturbing because for a country to have all the power, you know, China isn't putting military bases across the world. Russia's, you know, engaged in whatever they're doing, and they're not trying to take over Venezuela for oil. America, I would say, and a lot of people would agree, is the most powerful and wealthy nation in the world. And to think that instead of using that power and money for good and to help people, they're doing, I would say, the complete opposite. And if you get to watch this Inside CCOT, you'll see what I mean. These are people that had no criminal record. A lot of them were taken from immigration court. They had maybe immigration violations, which is like, you know, imagine getting sent into another country for jaywalking. And 60 Minutes wanted to put this on full display. That's what they do, right? With Donald Trump and his fascist regime. Not only do they not like the media, but they don't like any kind of narrative unless it's the one they're telling that moment in real time. Because we know Donald Trump has changed his tune on a million different things. Just look at the Jeffrey Epstein story. You know, he's had a million different things. He was best friends with them. Then it was, you know, he was stealing girls, and that's why. And he also said he separated from him over a real estate deal. You know, liars can't keep their story straight because they can't remember. And this specific liar has dementia, so it's even harder. That's good tea. Now, this is, I forget who this is from, but it goes, News team, thank you for notes and text. I apologize for not reaching out earlier. I learned on Saturday that Barry Weiss, do you know who Barry Weiss is? Appointed Queen of CBS, All Hail the Queen. Queen Queef, I believe, was the full title. I'm not sure, though. I don't know. You know, these corporate things, middle management and stuff, I'm not really sure about the bureaucracy of all that. But Larry Ellison, who's a Trump goon, you know, loves Donald Trump. Maybe they go to the same fake tanner. I don't know. But Larry Ellison, who had that big merger, Skydance and Paramount, you know, Stephen Colbert talked about it, all the places talked about it. And they bent the knee to Trump. Larry Ellison has put his people in places of power so they could do things like this. His son is the CEO, no qualifications. Barry Weiss, who, if you've ever heard speak, you'd understand she's very unqualified for the job. You'd wonder, you know, like how she had a YouTube show called The Free Press, and that was hard to watch stuff. And now these people are running everything. So that's who Barry Weiss is, you know, specifically put there. Barry Weiss spiked our story, Inside CCOT, which was supposed to air tonight. We, Ori and I, asked for a call to discuss her decision. She did not afford us that courtesy opportunity. Our story was screened 5 times and cleared by both CBS attorneys and standards and practices. It is factually correct. In my view, pulling it now after every rigorous internal check has been met, is not an editorial decision, it's a political one. Trump goons are censoring the media now. We requested responses to questions and interviews with DHS, White House, and State Department. Government silence is a statement, not a veto. The refusal to be interviewed is a tactical maneuver designed to kill the story. If an administration's refusal to participate becomes a valid reason to spike your story, we have we have effectively, okay, I can't read it, sorry, there's stuff, a kill switch for any reporting they find inconvenient. If the standard for airing a story becomes the government must agree to be interviewed, then the government effectively gains control over the 60 Minutes broadcast. That is not good. That is not free speech. If you tie reporting to, well, if the government says it's okay, you know, and by says means, do they participate in this? Because the government never does. You ever ask any kind of a public official for a statement on something outside of a podium, they're really not going to get it to you. You see Congress always trying to, get to the fucking elevator in time to close the doors. Unless they're prepared, their speech writers, aka their lobbyists or whoever, has presented them with the narrative they're ready to present, they're not going to comment. So the government must be, so if the standard becomes the government must agree to be interviewed, then the government effectively gains control over the broadcast. We go from investigative powerhouse to a stenographer for the state. These men risk their lives to speak with us. We have a moral and professional obligation to the sources who entrusted us with their stories. Abandoning them now is a betrayal of the most basic tenet of journalism, giving a voice to the voiceless. CBS spiked the Jeffrey Wigand interview due to legal concerns, nearly destroying the credibility of this broadcast. It took years to recover from that low point. By pulling the story, there's comments in the way. To shield an administration, we are repeating that history, but for political optics rather than legal ones. We have been promoting the story on social for days. Our viewers expect it. When it fails to air without a credible explanation, the public will correctly identify that this is corporate censorship. I would say corporate hand-in-glove government censorship. The corporations are doing what Donald Trump wants. So, we have officially gained corporatocracy, where the government runs the corporations, runs the people. Which, I don't know. Is that what America is now? Is that what you want it to be? We are trading 50 years of gold standard reputation for a single week of political quiet. I care too much about this broadcast to watch it be dismantled without a fight. And good for you. Good for this getting leaked. Good for, Sharon speaking up. Be a Sharon, not a Karen. As opposed to Carolyn Levitt. Don't be a Karen, be a Sharon. I just created that. Thank you. You're welcome. And reporting is important because look at this. In 2021, ProPublica revealed that Bezos, with wealth already well into the paid zero in federal income tax in 2007 and again in 2011. In fact, in 2011, the U.S. Treasury cut him a check for $4,000 for the child tax credit, a benefit intended to help low and middle income American families. Well, I love ProPublica. They do amazing work, but like this is the importance. Imagine if, you know, they reached out to the government for a comment on that $4,000 check to Jeff Bezos and the government said, "Oh, no comment," and they had to kill this story. We would never know that. We would never, ever know this. Stop defending Jeff Bezos paying no taxes and getting a $4,000 check. That's a welfare queen. Jeff Bezos. And he's totally a queen. This is another interesting thing, you know, while you see CNN, ABC, LMNO, NSB, whatever they're called, all covering the Epstein files. You get Fox News, you know, tweeting about rats engaged in a tug of war, which, is there irony in that? Anyways, before I came on, I wanted to show you this. I saw this. I'm going to play some audio for you that goes with the media censorship, but I love More Perfect Union, and this is more great journalism, when they're exposing Americans to a world outside of the bubble we live in. In the Netherlands, burnout is a legally recognized reason for sick leave, and workers are entitled to at least 70% of their salary for up to 104 weeks of illness. That sounds like the land of the free. That sounds like a dream you could live for. That sounds like they appreciate the workforce and they understand that consumers are 70% of the economy, and without the consumers, who are usually the workers, you know, things start to crumble. We are the backbone. What does that lower one say? Google's parent corporation, Alphabet, is acquiring Intersect, the data center and energy infrastructure, for $4.75 billion in cash. Ah, that's great. Google buying up more data centers. Awesome. Amazing. I can't wait till it's just Google, Amazon, Walmart, Target, VS. You know, when they all just have one merge. It's Paramount, Walmart, Google, Amazon, Kohl's, VS. You know, CV, Kohl's, Target, Amazon, Data, AMD, NVIDIA, Alphabet Soup, CS. You know, it's just one big giant corporate merger. This is what the Republicans want, you know. Like, we should have a CEO running things. Well, welcome to layoff season. Welcome to deficits while, you know, the wealthy still manage to get a big bonus. And I think that's what the Republican Party stands for now. They're like, we should just let corporations run everything. While repealing any kind of regulations that would, you know, allow you as workers to have a day off or not be microchipped or, you know, anything that benefits you as a human, and you should just be a slave to the corporatocracy. Here's your dislike button. Take a day off. There's your dislike button. Oh, wait a minute. Jasmine Rodriguez. I didn't see the $2. Sorry, my screen was, my chat was frozen up above. Thank you so much for the super chat. I did not see it. My apologies. Oh, wait, did Dusty sneak in? I think I saw Dusty. I thought I saw Dusty. Why are people trusting corporations? They did this to us in our country. I don't know. You got to think this is, you know, years and decades and millennia of corporations using advertising and marketing and PR to not only surveil and get as much data and microdata out of us as they could, but then to slyly position themselves as a friend. You know, they're just a friend. That's why they would always speed up the talk at the end of the commercial. They would talk about how you're going to be barfing and having diarrhea at the same time. Because, you know, Coca-Cola, while you're just drinking some brown chemical syrup, bubbly brown chemical syrup, they position these polar bears at wintertime that just want to celebrate Christmas with you, you know? And they're friendly, and you love them. When the truth is, you know, these corporations, I mean, you can find the irony of it when you're checking out. I don't know if you've ever, I can tell some people, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, they've never gone food shopping, right? We all know that. They don't know what the word grocery is. They don't know how much egg costs. But for the rest of us, if you've ever just gone shopping, right? You got your errands day and you're checking out. And at the end of the checkout on the screen, it says, would you like to help hunger? Would you like to donate $1? And you're like, bitch, I'm the hungry one. Do you know how much these groceries just cost? Are you kidding me? You're asking me to donate to you where you don't even pay your employees enough, so they're the ones going hungry? That most people that are going to food banks and to getting SNAP are working at these companies? They're working full time and they just can't afford it? And you're asking me for $1 when you could clearly change all of America by just paying people enough so they could afford to live, so we could go back to the single earner economy that all these right-wing grifters claim to want when they want women in the houses and men being at work. Well, that only exists when you can have a single earner economy, which we did, for a while in the 60s and 70s until Reagan. And then they slowly eroded all that and just concentrated all the wealth at the top, and they deregulated and they broke strikes up. So you can see the irony right there when you're checking out. When they ask you for money to help solve some problem that they fucking caused, that money, where is that accounting? I would love to see. Why don't they have a total of how much we've collected and how much we donated? They have the technology, but it's just funny that instead of that, I go, well, why don't you just pay people enough? Never mind charity. Never mind your organizations to whitewash and to fucking publicly scrub your image. Just pay your workers enough so they don't have to work 40 hours a week and hit a food bank. Or they don't have to work 40 hours a week here while working another 20, 30 somewhere else. These are fixable problems. And you can just look to the past and be like, well, what's changed? Oh, the tax rate? Hold on. Well, what's changed? FDR had a tax rate of 94% on all income over 200,000 in 1944-45. That's in America, you young kids. Adjusted for inflation, that's something like 3.5 million today. Something like that might help us now. The only thing that's changed is now these wealthy people pay, well, what is it? Let's just look at ProPublica's reporting. Well, let's see. Jeff Bezos paid 0 in 2007 and 11. Anybody else get to pay 0? But the fact that there's a lot of people that are on YouTube that can be introduced to these facts, that the billionaires will pay nothing into the system that they're exploiting and using way more than us. Keep recycling those yogurt lids, that might offset Jeff Bezos sending 4,000 trucks to your neighborhood today to overnight deliver to everybody. That might offset it, Or Taylor Swift taking a fucking private plane when she wants a glass of water. When we started making coins out of worthless materials. I'm glad you said that, Wazazi. Because have you seen the new quarters? They look like play money, Save your old coins, because they had, I think, decent metals in them, rare earth metals. Now the coins look like, like you were counterfeit. It just looks crazy. The money in America now looks so gross. The highest rate of EBT is in Kentucky. The highest county is a red county, 94% white. Yeah. I mean, that stuff it's not only obvious, but it shouldn't matter. The bigger point is why are we a wealthy country if we have that many people needing benefits? What is the problem? Instead of, I want people who critique that, that are like, oh, well, whatever the critique is, you're using government assistance. Number one, why aren't you complaining about the billionaires using government assistance? This is my biggest issue. If you're going to be worth $1 trillion, Elon Musk, you shouldn't have to take any of our tax money. And you take a lot of it. That's my biggest issue. Float it your own, man. Stop using our fucking money. I would rather that going to people on EBT. I want my taxes to make sure my communities, I don't care if it's Kentucky or not, I want to make sure those people are fed. Because I know your fat ass, Elon, is well fed, you know? You probably don't even know the cost of food. And instead of talking about who's using government assistance, why don't we start talking about what causes it? Because most of these people are working and they're not paid enough. My mother has been gone for a long time, and she was protesting against a $7.25 minimum wage. We're talking about Congress has given themselves multiple raises, yet voted, especially the Republicans, voted against the federal minimum wage moving from $7.25. That's a 2009 number, and in 2009, people were protesting for the fucking $15 minimum wage. And if you can't see that that's so messed up, especially the people say, oh, if you pay people more, everything will skyrocket in price. Everything has skyrocketed in price. Everything. That's why last election, egg was a topic. I've been alive for quite a while, and I've never seen egg be a topic in a political. I thought, we're fucked. America's lost the plot. The people have failed. We're uneducated to the point where we're like, President, can you help egg? Really, it's disturbing that that's what people were voting on, you know, and somehow thinking like, oh, this is the no wars guy, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah, Epstein files. That was the other one. Oh my God. I feel bad for some people, you know. There's normies out there though. They're not paying attention. My egg, Finn Von Smith. I use egg as a metaphor for all the economy, and there's people that really do come in here and they're like, egg is this much, and I'm like, you don't get it, man. You don't get what I'm laying down. Egg is a fucking metaphor for everything. That people wanted change and they used egg as I want change. You don't get it, and I need you to get it. Because now the media has been completely infiltrated by the government. Larry Ellison, who you could probably find pictures of him next to Trump. He's at his inauguration. He's special whatever to Trump. Owns a lot of the media landscape. And I want to play some audio for you. Actually, first let's start with the Drey Dossier. Link down below. I need you to watch her. Oh, I didn't take a photo. She's got a great channel. Oh, and then remember, this is also how it started. Donald Trump, in his whatever speech, was saying he's going to cut drug costs by 400, 600%, right? He said all this. He said it so many different times. Well, it's mathematically impossible. And there was a, hold on. There was a MS Now video. This is the other censorship that you see going on. I don't know if this is backwards. My apologies. But $10, 50% off, $5. $10, 100% off, $0. $10 prescription, 600% off. They pay you $60. Sorry if that's backwards. And that was a MS Now video that I watched earlier. I saw it on Reddit. I found it on YouTube. I linked it in the description of this video. And when I went to pull it up to play it for you guys, it has now been blocked in your country. This is what you get. You can try. I linked the video down below. It's called 6th grade math, because that's what the video was called. 6th grade math, where MS Now does 6th grade math and teaches people that anyone promising you 600 off something means they're going to pay you. Can't exist. It doesn't exist. You think a pharmaceutical company is going to pay you to take a prescription? Listen, I'd love that, America. Don't get me wrong, that sounds more than socialism, but it ain't happening. And isn't it funny how all these hard right Republicans, these supremacist Republicans, will cheer when Donald Trump says, oh, pharmacies are going to pay you? Because that's what that says. If you're taking 600% off a $10 prescription, they're paying you $60. Is that corporate socialism? I don't know. Redistributing the wealth? Why do they cheer for that? You know? Things that make you go, Things that make you go, But that video is now unavailable. Interesting how that got taken down, right? Notice the little things. And then when you start piecing them together, I want to play this Drey Dossier clip about Larry Ellison, his mega merger, and what she thinks the game plan is for 2026.
The cable networks. The deal requires Warner Brothers Discovery to spin off CNN, TNT, TBS, and all of the Discovery networks into a separate company called Discovery Global. And it will become its own publicly traded company available for someone else to buy. Which, to be fair, that was always kind of the plan. So why not wait for that to happen in April of 2026 like it was supposed to? Why would the Ellisons want to force Warner Brothers Discovery into an early sale? Because remember, they were giving all of these unsolicited bids for the whole company starting back in September, only to be turned down again and again and again, and then to lose again, finally, in December. I think losing was the point. What if their only goal was to force this spinoff to happen before April of 2026 so that they could buy the one piece that they wanted, CNN, before the primaries? 2026 is a huge election year. This is not your normal midterms. These elections are going to determine whether or not there is any check on Trump's power for the next 3 years. We're talking elections for every House seat, a third of the Senate, dozens of governor races that are going to be controlling this redistricting for the next decade. And these primaries decide all of that. And the earliest primary starts March 3rd, which is Texas, Arkansas, and the North Carolina vote. And if you wait until Q3 to buy CNN, then by the time you get in there, restructure everything, clean house, then the media has probably already made the narratives and decisions for who's a joke, whose stories get oxygen, and who's gonna win. The media is the key to the king-making. Remember that. So if you buy CNN after the primaries, then you own a cable news network. But if you buy it in January or February before the primaries, you own the narrative. And now the Ellisons are threatening this hostile bid, supposedly furious about losing. But that...
All right. That's enough of that. Drey Dossier, link in the description. Please watch the whole video. And she has some other great videos about how Donald Trump is not building the Epstein Memorial Ballroom, but maybe it's a data center, underground data center. She does some absolutely spectacular work. Very impressed. And to say the least, if you don't believe what she's saying, well, let's just see how this plays out. That's the beautiful thing about this. You don't have to believe her, but if the Ellisons purchase CNN at an earlier timeline than April of 2026, then maybe she's onto something. We can watch because you know of Larry Ellison, who just merged Paramount and CBS or Paramount and Skydance, and took over CBS and put in Barry Weiss, and now she has a whole Erica Kirk, her whole Erica clan tab on CBS, and basically, doing town halls with who the fuck cares about, why is Erica Kirk important? Why? She's not. The media is making this into something. This is their narrative that they're trying to push down your throat and trying to normalize the supremacist husband and wife family while they preach about family values while not showing any, abandoning her daughters who just went through the most dramatic thing they probably ever will a few months ago. So let's see if the Ellisons purchase CNN and restructure it. Hold on. And I want to play some other audio for you about fascism and about what happens with media companies under fascism. This is Michael Parenti. Again, link in the description. You can watch this whole video on your own.
Both Hitler and Mussolini did when they came into power.
So he's talking about what Hitler and Mussolini did when they came into power.
Was abolish all independent trade unions, smash all opposition newspapers, throw political opponents into jail, round up and murder large numbers of them.
What does that sound like? Letitia James, James Comey, pulling security off of John Bolton, going after all the media companies, suing them, suing Facebook. I just want you to think of this context and what has happened over the past year.
Cut wages by 1/3 to 1/2.
Tariffs. That cut your wages real quick. When all of a sudden everything's more expensive, whatever you're making is worth less.
Increase investments in military spending.
Have you seen how big the military is getting? And what Doge, remember when Doge was going there to cut costs, and all they did was data mine. And they said we caught fraud, but there were no fraud charges. You notice how they never once looked, out of all the US aid and all the things that they did demolish, and the ripple effect of many lives lost because of Elon Musk and his Doge efforts. You notice that they never, ever touched the military?
Dramatically, increased cartel profits.
Cartel profits. Wasn't there someone just recently pardoned who worked, the Honduran ex-president who worked with the cartels? Interesting.
Cut inheritance taxes for the rich.
I don't gotta remind you of this. If you've hit subscribe and been here for a while, you know that Donald Trump's extension of his previous tax cut from 2017, the one that they passed this summer, that Theo Vaughn had J.D. Vance on, and J.D. Vance propagandized Theo Vaughn by saying, we're trying to stop a huge tax increase. No, you're not. You're trying to keep a tax cut that you guys implemented, that this regime and your Republicans implemented in 2017. So I don't know about the wealth tax. I know there's some fancy finaglings up there about inheritance and gift tax, and I know all those things change, but the one big one is corporations now have a permanent tax cut at 21%. So if you're a worker, you go to work every day, you on average pay about 22% in taxes. Corporations, trillion-dollar corporations, Google, Amazon, Walmart, Tesla, if they pay any taxes, their technical rate is 21%, 1% lower than you. You know, because why should the trillionaires and the billion-dollar businesses contribute to the society that they're exploiting? It should be on our backs, right? That's what the Republicans believe.
Cut taxes for the rich. In Italy, child labor was reintroduced.
Child labor reintroduced. How many stories have you seen about Republican states, whether it be Florida or something, talking about how it's good to get kids back into the workforce?
And roll back a number of other protections and democratic gains which labor had won, such as Social Security insurance, occupational safety laws, and
they are trying to get rid of OSHA, occupational safety laws. They want to deregulate. That's why I find it funny whenever there's some working class schlub talking about how he's a libertarian or wants, you know, the free market to have no regulations. Well, regulations will make sure that these corporations aren't polluting your water or killing you at work. This is literally what regulations are. That's why you get paid overtime. That's a regulation.
And abuses which the Italians had thought they had eliminated over a generation before returned to the work site. So fascism was a very regressive and costly thing for the working class and was not supported by that working class. The business-owned press, therefore, not surprisingly, while denouncing the Soviet Union as a menace to civilization and all that was right, manifested an open admiration for fascist Italy and a kind of cool and rather warm tolerance for giving Adolf a chance in Nazi Germany.
I just want you to think about the Epstein files right now with the press, okay? This regime is openly and corruptly exposing themselves as lawbreakers. They're breaking the law. Like, they're getting noted. They're just breaking the law, and there's no one to enforce it because courts can say whatever, and over the past year, courts have said whatever, and this regime has just ignored it. They've taken the Andrew Jackson stance of, well, you know, if you're going to, what judge, how are you going to enforce that, you know? They've obviously utilized the private police and trying to put military on our streets, so they've openly ignored court orders, and they're breaking the law. And the media, you know, this is publicly noted, but the media is so tepid on this. In a rational, normal, common sense timeline, the media would be irate over the abuses of power, but because they think they're in the swaddle of this regime, that, you know, they've paid their fealty, they've sworn their oath to the Taco Supreme Chief Commander King, that they think they're safe. You know, they settled their lawsuits. He's not going to come after one, but everybody can be a target.
After a while, as both of these countries showed themselves to be aggressors against Western capitalist interests, after While then opinions began to get a little more negative in the press toward them after Mussolini's invasion of Ethiopia and Hitler's threats directed toward the West. But
So that's an interesting point. That if you notice, what could change the tides of these for-profit mainstream media? What could change the tides? Well, reputation, number one. Their PR. If people start to think, well, these are trash people associating with, one of the biggest trafficking rings in ever. But the other thing is, if it's going to cut into their profits. Remember, if you think corporations are your friend, that's silly. You got a little maturing to do. They only exist for profit. That's it. There's no loyalty to their workforce. There's no reward for being a veteran anywhere. There's no holiday bonuses. There's nothing anymore. They just care about CEO compensation packages and stock dividends. That's why they do all these illegal stock buybacks. They were illegal here in America until 1982 and Reagan. But businesses only exist to enrich a few. And I'm sure we've witnessed that. I can't think of it right now. But if Donald Trump steps on the toes of their money, we might see some truth or some different reporting or some trying to hold, that's a whole thing of the press, to be able to hold power accountable. But you should check that stuff out. There's a whole video on this stuff. Thank you, Crush. Sub, share, like, and smash the notification bell. I appreciate you. Dusty is here. I thought so. Good to see you, Dusty. Finn, I respect you saying we have two parties. Technically, for the facade is there's two parties. It's really Republicans and diet Republicans. I do think, we need to co-opt the diet Republicans, the Democrats, into actually representing the people until we can absolutely dismantle this two-party structure system, because two parties only work for the corporations. And until we can dismantle it, we need to co-opt the Democrats, because we have no left voice. We have no voice for the working class, for the people. If all Democrats were in power, we're not getting universal health care. They're not going to, raise taxes on their funders, the corporations. So there's ways we need to work the system, just like the white supremacists worked the system, and they got Donald Trump in there, and then they co-opted every facet of government. They co-opted Joe Rogan. They infiltrated every nook and cranny of it just to put loyalists in. And we need to do the same, but do it for the people, for people's pensions, for people's retirements, for federally protected sick time, guaranteed. You don't have to earn it, for parental leave, for, better work hours, a 3-day work week, to raise the minimum wage. These are all things the Democrats will not do. We need to somehow find a way to force this to happen within the confines of the system, and then we can dismantle it, because like I always think of that great quote from history, when institutions fail, you don't reform them, you replace them. This one has failed. But Finn, I appreciate you, because I get the sentiment of that comment. Do I play poker? Not in a long time. We as lefties definitely need to speak up more, push for people to be openly socialist, even if they're just supporting schools. Yeah, 100%. These people, Dusty, you're so correct on that. We need to speak up. Everything starts with the people speaking out and saying, hey, this has been done before. This can work. There's other countries. That's why I wanted to show you this, And listen, if they didn't think this information was dangerous, they wouldn't be taking these things down. They wouldn't make it unavailable in America. This is American news. They wouldn't be, trying to silence their critics. They wouldn't be suing the news. They wouldn't be making loyalists take these positions. In the Netherlands, burnout is a legally recognized reason for sick leave, and workers are entitled to at least 70% of their salary for up to 104 weeks of illness. Who would be against that? Unless you're just in a cult, you know, because if you work for a living and let's say you're MAGA, right? And you've overlooked all the PDF file stuff, all the trafficking, you've overlooked the corporate tax cuts, the tariffs, the tax on you, the extra tax on you, you know, the decimation of the debt, all of this stuff. Unless you're so blind to just worship a leader, you don't see that this would benefit you. This as a law in our country, burnout is legally recognized a reason for sick leave, which I think Americans would have way more burnout than people in the Netherlands, especially because people in the Netherlands are guaranteed at least 70% of their salary for up to 104 weeks. And I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, it's a smaller country. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. I don't want to hear it. We can make this happen. We can make this happen. We can absolutely implement this. These just go and look at how much wealth has been extrapolated from the working class and funneled to the top. They have so much. There's going to be one guy who has $1 trillion. One guy. Meanwhile, the whole country doesn't have health care. We can do this stuff. And there is proof that it's being done and it works. So unless you're just so sick in the head that you're like, no, the people who have billions of dollars can't have less than $1 billion. You know, that's the only like thing that you could say. Like, no, the people who have trillions need those trillions. You can't even, you know, you can't tax or rearrange any kind of structure to take even a cent away from them. Meanwhile, you know, you're talking about people with burnout being able to recover from that burnout. And here in America, most people can't work one job. Most people, I know managers of stores that also do Uber. These are people that are the top paid in the store who are having to work a second job. This is not sustainable, and stuff like this can fix it. So, Dusty, like you said, it is so important to speak out, to show people these things. That's why More Perfect Union is great, because there are ways to fix this, and it's not, you know, private police, the president's police on the streets. That's not the problem. Because if it was the problem, we would have seen stuff been turning around already. You know, nothing's getting changed. Nothing's fixed. Things are getting worse. Yeah, in honor of the JFK thing, we didn't even talk about that. Trump put his name, or I think we mentioned that on Saturday. He just wants to put his name on everything, you know? It's part of, why do you think Saddam Hussein had, you know, statues everywhere? Because they want to remind you, we're everywhere. We're watching you. Surveillance. We're reminding you. Donald Trump has done nothing, you know? Put his name on the Epstein mansion, or, you know, put it in big letters across Epstein Island. That's the only thing he deserves. Organizing, that's right. You got to organize your communities, organize your workplace, organize everything. Medicare for all, yeah, universal healthcare, man. America's the only country, only industrialized nation ain't doing it. And we got 65,000 plus, more than 65,000 people dying every year, Americans, from lack of access to healthcare. It's unreal that people can hear that and still be like, nope. It's unreal that people can hear that and think no, even though it would benefit them. Like, I've never seen a country against stuff that would, or I've never met so many people outside of, you know, America. I've never met so many people, Americans, that are anti something that would benefit them. Like, America's got to be so unique for Americans hating stuff that would help them in case of sickness or, you know, illness. Like, it's so weird. It's like, why? Because you don't want other people to have it? Like, what is that mentality? Like, no, I wouldn't want other people to be healthy too, so I'll, you know, roll the dice and hope I don't get anything, or hope I have enough money to cover it, or I'll just go in debt and lose my house to cover it so nobody else can have it. It's like, what is that mentality? What is that? It's got to be an illness. It's got to be an illness that probably Medicare for all could help. because of racism? You're saying we do not have a national health care because of racism? I would agree with that. That's probably exactly what it is. And we got a bunch of racists running things in this country, which is sickening, you know? I can't believe that, you know, like I played this clip for you. This is JD Vance. I can't believe that every news outlet isn't covering this and being like, this is the most obscene, racist shit, you know, I've ever heard.
In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore.
Just cite one example. We have the internet. Where the fuck have you ever seen a viral video of someone being like, I'm so sorry I'm white, I'm so sorry I'm white? This doesn't exist. This is fucking propaganda. It's sickening. How is that racist? Do you really not know, or are you just playing the bad faith? Like, oh, everything's racist. You really don't understand? Do you really not? Like, it's kind of crazy to me. Well, I guess no, because people clap for it. So I guess you're one of them. Listen, man, that's racist because what he's saying is the white. Again, Brad, can you just tell me where white people come from? It's not a country, it's not a culture, it's not a land. There's no geographical place that white people can come from. I know you probably won't answer that, but again, Brad, see, this is what I mean. It's okay to be proud of yourself as racist now? That's number one, that's not what he said. He didn't say be proud of. And again, you have to answer my first question. Where is white? Where is whiteland? Because to say being proud of being white, that's a racist statement. That's saying I'm just proud of a color, not a heritage, not a culture, not a country. If you say I'm proud to be Irish, okay, that's fine. Brad, where is white? He can't answer this. That's okay, Brad. I didn't expect you to. You know, I didn't think this was a good faith argument. So again, it's a teaching moment. I'm guessing you'll probably go somewhere else because this is scary stuff for you. You know, you might need a safe space from learning. But there is no white country. Like I've said before, if you look back far enough in American history, you'll find out that white people once weren't even considered white. The Irish, the Italians, the Poles, the you name it. You know, they weren't even considered white people. So again, we got to start at the beginning. And then we also have to clarify that Brad was doing bad faith stuff. He didn't say he was proud of anything. He said, you don't have to apologize for it, which is a false statement. And I've just asked anybody to show me where people are apologizing for being white. I've never seen it. Ever. We have the internet. I've seen a lot of shit because of the internet. It just doesn't happen. So what he's doing is he's saying, oh, the white people are victims and we're done being victims. Now we don't have to apologize because we are white. We don't have to apologize for that anymore. Oh, I'm so sorry I'm white. Oh my God, does that offend you? You understand that statement is racist. Because this doesn't happen. The white people are not victims. There is no white people. There's a white color. But again, this is in line with Stephen Miller's racist agenda. So when you also bring this into the context of what happened and the context of where this is taking place at the America First, where, what's her name? That dumb bimbo, Charlie Clan's wife said,
despite the devastating loss of Charlie Kirk, my incredible husband at UVU, right, Caleb has persisted with the same grift.
The same grift. She goes on to go, oh, excuse me, I mean gift, I mean grit, I mean, So even Charlie Clan's wife, you know, which he was just a well-known racist. People just tried to water it down and pretend like that's not racism when it was just blatant racism. So yeah, but I didn't think that you really wanted to have a discussion. I think you were more into trying the slick little Ben Shapiro, Tim Pool tricks, and for people who don't really think, that might work for it. But to the rest of us, we see through you. Thank you, Crush. Thank you. Workers to get paid for burnout? Yeah, who wouldn't support this? Oh, maybe you're a CEO. Maybe you're a CEO and you're like, I never want my workers to get, and especially here in America, I'm surprised Netherlands has burnout. I guess anyone working can get burnout. Or maybe you'll pretend like, ooh, I've never gotten burnout. You haven't worked hard enough, son. But yeah, this is amazing. And what American worker would be anti that? It seems really class traitorous. But, the class traders are going to just be, they're going to be what they are. And there's no, trying to converse with them. For the rest of us that want to keep having discussions and keep pushing forward and trying to get the working class to wake up and realize that these rich people, these elites on stage don't care about you. These elites on stage, they don't care about you. They're into consolidating and protecting their wealth. This rich kid, whose dad gave him all the money, is lying to you. You can't. That's mathematically impossible unless the drug companies are going to start paying us. I mean, they're just blatantly lying to you. But they're banking on the American education system to not have you schooled enough, learned enough to understand that he's fibbing. He's Fibonacci. He's a Fibonacci to you. All right, guys. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Dusty, really good to see you. Crush Dice, I appreciate you doing some work in here. His dad gave him, I don't know, in today's money, probably $7 billion. His dad, you don't know who Fred Trump is? Fred Trump's the one that when he was bankrupt in casinos, got caught trying to give illegal loans to Donald's casinos. We did a whole story, or we covered the story. We commented on the story in it here. You can look it up. How Fred Trump was having a guy walk in with checks of $300,000, cashing it for chips, and then just leaving with the chips. It was an illegal loan. They were busted. But yeah, everything he has is because it was his dad's at one point. So it's just funny to me, all the, hardcore MAGAs who want to drain the swamp and they're sick of Democratic coastal elites. This guy was a Democrat. That's why you see him with all the pictures of Bill Clinton. And he was a coastal elite. He was a Nepo baby rich kid, and they voted for exactly what they didn't like. But again, they also voted for him to release the Epstein files, and he's all over them. So, don't try to make it make sense. We just gotta wake these people up and say, hey, you're ruining the country. Hey, psst, psst, you're ruining the country. Your decision-making process is filled with errors. It's erroneous, and you're ruining the country. You're allowing these Nepo baby rich kid coastal elite Democrats to absolutely fill the swamp with even more traitorous, treasonous American fake triots. That's what I'll call them. And you need to step aside. You shut up and be obedient. That's all you really do with him. And let people with ideas and understanding history and how it can benefit the working class, let us give it a run. You and your capitalist dementors have had control for a long, long time. Let the socialists take over. Let us try to do some stuff. And if you're not scared, you don't need a safe space. You don't need to go, oh, no. You don't need to fearmonger. Just allow us to regulate these companies and tax them, tax billionaires into extinction. So 100% of everything over 999.9 million goes back into our communities. It works here in Massachusetts. We have a wealth tax, and it works splendidly. You can read all about it, linking down in the description. Fox poll, Trump approved is 34%. Ooh. Is 34% good now? Are they going to make a declaration of war that 34% is now the highest number you can get? We've redone the numbers, folks, and 34 is the highest you can go now. After 34, it starts back at 1. No drug prices went down. None. All right, guys. Crush, love seeing the kitty photos and all the photos you post. Appreciate you. Dusty, appreciate you. Everybody else, who else was in here? Finn was in here rapping with us. Everybody who had some conversation. N-Dubs, Trump, the throat goat. I'll be back tomorrow. This week's going to be hectic, but let's see how things go. But hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're 10,000 strong. Hi is here. Hi, because of your name, you should have wrote I-M-H-E-A-R. That would have been funny. And Dubs, I'm not reading that one. But hit subscribe. Appreciate you guys. We're going to keep speaking out. Check out Tad Stormer's video from today. Very interesting. I forgot to link it, forgot to play it for you, but good stuff. Maybe I think I shared it in my community posts.
What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
One of the greatest.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
Peace.